Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to review for you the new Saie bronzer in the shade Medium Bronze. Then I have the M Cosmetics, which is also a brand new cream bronzer. I've got the shade Summer, and I'm also going to be comparing these two against Milk Makeup Cream Bronzer, which I've really been enjoying. So I'm just going to jump straight into application, and I'm going to start off with the Saie bronzer. This is one of those bronzers that you guys have definitely requested that I try out, and so here it is. I thought the perfect shade for me would be medium bronze. It's a nice, good size. You're definitely getting a lot of product with this bronzer. Let's kind of show you what the color looks like. It is quite warm, and I was actually quite surprised. I thought this shade was going to be a lot deeper than this and not as warm. I really was not expecting such a warm bronzer. Let me know, were you guys expecting this to be quite as warm? I think from the images that I've seen of this bronzer and the swatches that I've seen, it definitely didn't look like this. Anyways, I'm just gonna go ahead and use my Hourglass brush number 2 and just going to blend this out. Now this blends in, as you can see, beautifully. So although it's not the most creamiest of the formulas that's out there, it diffuses in really easily, and it's quite a seamless blend. As you can see, that barely took any time. I didn't fast forward or anything like this. It's perfect. So in terms of blending, this is really beautiful. So this is what the Saie bronzer in medium bronze looks like. I'm gonna build it up just a little bit more and add a wee bit more. I'm gonna go ahead and blend this out. It also layers really well. I haven't had any issues actually with any of these bronzers. Layering hasn't been an issue, blending hasn't been an issue. I'm going to tell you straight away, all these three bronzers that I'm going to talk about today are all good bronzers. So I think lots of great options for you guys. So colors like these absolutely can work on my skin tone because I actually have pretty warm undertones. Also, I just want to point out that there's absolutely no shimmer in the Saie formula. Now let's compare this to the new cream bronzer from M Cosmetics, and this is the shade Summer. M Cosmetics had quite an interesting shade selection, and when I was looking at the shades, it didn't take me a long time to decide which one to get. I kind of just picked up Summer thinking this would work well for me, and it does. And I'm going to pop it on this side of my cheek so we can compare the shade as well. So this right here is M Cosmetics, and I think you can tell straight away that M Cosmetics is not as warm as the Saie bronzer. Saie is quite warm, whereas M Cosmetics not so much. I'm just going to blend this out. So as you can see, you can really very easily blend the M Cosmetics bronzer out as well. It's quite hard to decide between these two just because they both perform really well. The key difference between the two is that the M Cosmetics has a little bit of shimmer. It's quite sheer and it's not concentrated, so you only see a little speckle here and there. You're not going to see a lot of shimmer. So I enjoy that. I don't mind the shimmer in the M Cosmetics at all. However, the Saie is completely matte. It has no shimmer. And the other key difference is really the shade. Of course, this one is a little bit creamier than Saie as well. So I'm applying a little bit more. I think that's about enough. And I'm going to go in and blend this out. Alright, so here we have M Cosmetics shade Summer. And then, of course, we have the Saie, which is medium bronze. So out of these two bronzers, I think both of these bronzers are really, really great. I think if you pick up either of these, you'll be pretty happy. You love bronzers that are nice and warm. I think you will really enjoy the shade Medium Bronze from Saie. However, if you're looking for a slightly warm bronzer, but not too warm, perhaps a little bit on the neutral side, then I think you will actually prefer the M Cosmetics shade, which is a little bit more neutral and not as warm as Saie. In terms of formulation, I have really enjoyed using both these bronzers. The Saie bronzers is not as creamy as the M Cosmetics. M Cosmetics feels a little bit more lush, a little bit more creamy when you apply it with your fingers. However, both of these just blend beautifully. So in terms of blending and diffusing into the skin, both of these are perfect. Longevity, no issues. I've been able to wear both of these for a whole day, 8 to 9 hours, and they haven't really faded on me. So I think at the end of the day, what it comes down to is accessibility. The price, you do get a lot of product with the Saie that you don't necessarily get with M Cosmetics, and of course, ultimately, it's the shade. So I've reapplied my foundation on this side, and now I'm going to go in with Milk makeup. So as far as I'm aware, Milk has only come out with one cream bronzer. This is not new. I believe this has been around for some time, but it's new to me. I've had it for about a month, and I have really been enjoying this formula. It's beautifully creamy. Like, this is a very creamy formula, a lot creamier than your Saie bronzer. It's creamier than Chanel, and it's also slightly more creamier than M Cosmetics. I love me a creamy bronzer. I'm just taking some on my finger and just kind of rubbing it on here. It is winter here in New Zealand, so with cream products, I do kind of need to rub my fingers on there just so the product melts a little bit. So this right here is the Milk makeup bronzer, and you can see on this one, yes, it's a warm bronzer, but it's not too warm. It's definitely not as warm as Saie. Probably similar to M Cosmetics, but of course I'm going to do swatches for you guys, so you'll be able to see exactly how the three compare. So I'm going to go ahead and blend this in. This bronzer also blends in really beautifully. Again, it's really effortless. Like, you don't have to put a lot of work into any of these formulations. They're all formulated really, really well. In terms of longevity, this bronzer also lasts all day on me. I haven't had any issues with this bronzer. All day, 8 to 9 hours, it stays put. And this is the shade right here. It's really beautiful. I really enjoyed this formula as well as the color. I think the shade is really stunning. Not too warm, but just warm enough. Now I think I applied enough, but I'm going to go ahead and apply just a little bit more. You saw how creamy that applied on the tube. Now this bronzer also doesn't have any shimmer, just like the Saie. So this is Milk makeup. And this is M Cosmetics. Milk, M Cosmetics. So the question is, which bronzer do you like the look of better? Leave it in the comment section below. I'm so curious to find out what you guys think about these shades, because in terms of formulation, guys, all three of these bronzers are really beautiful. I recommend all of them. The Milk makeup one is also one I've been really loving. I feel like it's a little bit more on the dewy side. So let me quickly swatch them on my hand for you. I will also include proper swatches, so you'll be able to see that as well. But what I want to show you now is really the texture. So I'm going to dip into here the Saie one, which feels nice and creamy. It's lovely. And I'm just going to... So as you can see that it's a beautifully nice creamy bronzer, and it is very warm. Definitely on the warm side. If you don't like warm bronzers, skip this one. You are not going to like this shade. Next up, I am gonna pop some M Cosmetics onto my hand as well. Again, feels beautifully creamy on the finger. Right, here we go. So this just feels a lot more creamier than the Saie. Again, it's not hugely important, I suppose, which one is the creamiest of them all. However, it does give you an indication of how some of these products are going to feel on your skin. So this is the M Cosmetics Summer. And right here is Milk Makeup. Milk Makeup also feels very buttery, very creamy. Now I think it becomes very obvious which one is of course the warmest, which is the Saie. Now in terms of texture, I do want to mention that the Saie is a little bit sheer, so it's not quite as opaque in terms of creaminess as is the M Cosmetics. So a little bit more sheer on here. Again, it's still beautiful. I just wanted to tell you the difference in terms of texture. Then you have M Cosmetics, which isn't as sheer, a little bit more of an opaque cream. And then we have the Milk Makeup, which has the opacity, but is also more on the dewy side. So this does set down, but it really doesn't set to a matte finish. It retains some of the dewiness. I also want to mention that a lot of people have compared Saie against the Chanel, and I will say that they are very similar in terms of texture. Obviously not the shades, but they are most definitely very similar in terms of texture. So if you didn't want to buy the Chanel or the shade didn't vibe with you, definitely have a look at the Saie. I do think Chanel is perhaps a little bit better than the Saie, but after you take all the costs into account, I do think Saie is a really good bronzer. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have tried any of these cream bronzers, let me know what your thoughts are and what you think of these products. And I will see you guys in my next video. See ya!